All right. Welcome back to Miss Bailey's Math. We are back on to our packet on the lesson of piecewise functions. We are on example 3 in lesson 4. We have two piecewise functions, and they want us to evaluate these piecewise functions. They give us two restrictions. If the x value is greater than 2, we're going to use this first equation. If the x value is less than or equal to 2, we're going to use this second equation. So if our x value is 6, will we use the first equation or the second equation? The first equation. So wherever the x is, we're going to plug in a 6 and use the order of operation to solve. That's 3 times 6, which is 18. 18 minus 7, which is 11. Hmm? Oh, you got the packet?
I have this one, and
Oh, these.
thing at the top. I have no clue.
Oh, yes, this one, this one. Where?
I'm sure. They all look the same.
Did you pull them up?
Did I?
Oh, look, he pulled that.
Is it one of these things?
Yes.
How did that fall? I just did that.
Look. Oh, you missing one.
Oh.
Yeah, I got the. You could pull. You could try to pull it out of this one. No, that's recent. Lesson 4. And you could do it with. No.
Wait, what happened? What did they say?
Actually, it's behind that lesson 4. Okay, yes, we're on this part right here. Right here. Music has a lot to do with math. Counting notes. How long you had to play the notes for it, that's math. That's all we're doing.
This ain't.
All we're doing is adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing.
I was going to say that in the craziest.
It's not complicated when we write it out in like a complicated way. Like we didn't make it seem worse than.
I know. And I get that every year. Every year.
Because that way is overly complicated.
Really?
It just looks over.
With the algebra part?
Yeah, the algebra makes it seem really complicated.
So if our x was negative 3, will we use the first equation or the second?
The second.
And everywhere we see an x, we're going to plug in a negative 3. So we have negative 3 squared minus 1. Order of operation, parentheses first. Nothing to solve. Exponents next. Negative 3 squared is just like saying what times what? Excellent. Negative 3 times negative 3. A negative times a negative is a positive. 3 times 3 is 9. So this is going to be 9 minus 1, which will give us our answer at 8. You all have to do the evaluation of the equation first. And then next you have to actually figure out what the equation of the graphs is. Yes, this will have a lot of graphs on it. Everyone got this? All right, on this one, we have to figure out what is the equations. The first graph. This is what type of function? Because it is diagonal line. Start with the L. Linear. A linear function is in the form of y equals m x plus b. Im is our slope, and our slope goes rise over run. Our b is our y-intercept. That's where it crosses the y-axis. Now for this first graph, we have to first, let's see what is our slope. I pick up 2 points on the graph that is touching the corner, and I do rise, meaning up or down, over run. I would have to go down first, so that's negative, and I go to the right towards the positive 2. So that's going to be negative 1 over 2. That is my slope, rise over run. I'm going to put my x there, and then all I have to do is add my y-intercept. It crosses the y-axis at 5, so that's plus 5. I also have to state my restrictions. This is for x values. Since this graph is going to the left, is it greater than or less than? Less than. X values that are less than what x value? 2. Will I have a line under my inequality? No, because it's a what? Open circle. So it's not included. The next equation, we have a constant. Our constant is only one number. We have a constant at y equals 3. Then we need to put our restrictions. Our restriction is our x is in between between 2 and 5. Now, which one of these inequalities will have a line under it? The 2 or the 5? The 2, because it is a closed circle. And the last function, we have a linear function again. This is a negative linear function because it's going down when we read it from left to right. We got to figure out the slope. We have to go down 1, that's negative, and over 1 to the right, which is positive. So our slope is negative 1 x. And we need to get the y-intercept. This does not cross the y-intercept, but if I follow this graph up, I could figure out what my y-intercept would have been if it did not cut off. My y-intercept would have been at 7, so plus 7. But I have a restriction. This restriction is, this is going to the right. So is my x values greater than, less, or less than? Greater than. X is greater than what x value? 5. Will I put a line under it? Yes, because it is a closed circle. Do I have any questions? All right. We will also deal with nonlinear equations. This is a what type of function? Start with a Q. It's a quadratic. It's in the shape of a, start with a P. Parabola. This function, anytime we have a quadratic, the highest exponent is what? 2. So this is a quadratic x squared. Because it usually starts at 0, 0, it was shifted down 3. So that's going to be minus 3. Quadratic, shifted down 3. And then we need to do our restrictions. Because the line is going to the left, is this going to be greater than or less than? Less than. X is less than what X value? 2. Do I put a line under my inequality? Yes, because it has a closed circle at 2. The next equation is what type of function? A constant. A constant at y equals -2. And this is for x values that are in between 2 and 5. Excellent. You always put the least first, then the greatest. Do I have any of the inequalities with a line under it? No, because both of them are open circle. And my last equation is what type of function? A linear. And this linear function is in the form of y equals mx plus b. First, let me find what my slope is. I got 2 points. I need to rise over 1, which is 1 over 1, which is just 1. 1x, and then I could follow this graph down to figure out where is it going to cross my y-axis. It crosses my y-axis at -3. And this is for x values that are greater than or less than, if it's going to the right. Greater than, x values that are greater than what x value? 5. Will I have a line under my inequality? Yes, because it is a closed circle. Any questions? So you have equations. You have to figure out what the graphs, you have to evaluate the piecewise equations. You have to create the equations of graphs, and you have to create graphs from equations. Graphs from equations. So does everyone have this first part? All right, this is the last part we're going over before the delta mass. Now this puts it all together. We'll be given a equation and we have to actually graph it. First, with this first equation, what type of function is it when we have the highest exponent, a2? It's a quadratic function. Excellent. That plus 3 does what with the function when it... Excellent. It moves it up. And the plus 4 on the inside, remember that moves opposite direction, so that's going to move in what direction? It will move to the left. So this function moved up 3 and to the left 4, so we have a vertex that starts here. All right. This is a negative function, so it flipped over the x-axis. So we're not talking about a u, but an upside down u. And it was vertically compressed by half. So when you put it in the graphing calculator, vertically compressed by half, it would give a parabola like this. Now, this, we have to base it off the restriction. This is only for x values that is what? Excellent. Less than or equal to -1. So I'm not going to go past -1. Now that -1, is it going to have a closed circle or open circle? Based off of this inequality, it will be a closed circle. So we have a closed circle here, and it would be a parabola that is x values less than -1. It was flipped because of the negative. It was lifted up because +3. It was shifted to the left because the +4 on the inside. This was that unit 1 that we haven't gone over. But you did went over in math 3. So we had to skip it so we could work backwards. But this unit's gonna bring it in there. That unit 1 that we didn't go over. All right. The next equation is a what type of equation, because we have the absolute value in there. What type of function? It's in the name. The absolute value function. It's not in the shape of a U, but it's in the shape of what letter? A V. Now, because it has a -4, what happened to this function? Similar to what happened to the parabola. It goes down 4. Because it has a -2 on the inside, which works opposite, what direction will it go? To the right 2. So we're going to go down 4 and to the right 2, and that's where our vertex will start. We have a slope of 3, so we're going to go up 3 over 1 on both sides. Now this is only for x values between what two values? -1 and 4. So when we go up 3, 1, 2, 3 over 1, we still have our x value at 0. Up 3, 1, 2, 3 over 1, we have our x value at -1. Now, will that be an open circle or a closed circle for -1? Open circle, because it does not have a line under it. And then we're going to go all the way to 4, where our x is. Go up 3, 3 over 1. Now that 4, is that going to be an open circle or closed circle? Open. And then we plot our points. All right. We have 3 equations, which was, we have 2 graphs currently with restrictions. The last graph, because the highest exponent is a 3, we're not dealing with a linear, we're not dealing with a quadratic, but we're dealing with a what? Cubic. Cubic function. That cubic function is in the shape of a snake, like a S, snake. That +2 does what to the function? Lifts it up 2. That -6, because it's on the inside with the x, does what with the function? Goes to the right 6, because that moves opposite. So we need to go up 2 to the right 6, and that's where our middle point of our cubic function would be. And then we could drop, do our other points for that function. And it will make some type of x. Now, snake. Now, this function is only for values that are Greater than or equal to. So will that be a closed circle or open circle? Closed circle. So at 4, it will be a closed circle, and then it will create a snake-like function. Because wait, gosh, can you get them? It's like a snake-like function. All right, and it goes on forever with that arrow. Any questions? Now let's do our delta maths. Only got 3 for you. And then we'll be done. Everyone got this? Mm-hmm.
Nhỏ này, nhưng có cái này đâu này? Ký cái đầu này nhớ cái này đó.
No problem. All right, for the first part of the piecewise functions delta math, you're given restrictions and an x value. The first restriction said if our x does not equal 0, we will use this equation. If our x equals 0, then the answer is 6. Our x is 0, so our answer is 6. Any questions on that one? Next one. If our x does not equal 1, our answer is 5. If our x equal 1, our answer is 1. Our x is 2, so our answer is 5. That's a lot better. If my x is less than or equal to 2, I will use this equation. If my x is between 2 and 6 but does not equal 2 or 6, I will use this equation. If my x is greater than or equal to 6, I will use this equation. My x is 4, so I'll use the first, second, or third equation. The second equation. I'm going to plug in my 4 into this equation, so that's negative 2 times 4 plus 5. Negative 2 times 4 is negative 8 plus 5, which gives me negative 3. It's going to tell you, you have to use the rules to figure out which equation to plug it in. Do you have any questions on this first part? All right, the next part, we have to evaluate it by graphs. We're trying to find what is our y value when my x is negative 3. So I go to when my x is negative 3. My x is negative 3 here. I need to see where does it touches the graph. I do not include the open circle. I can only include the closed circle. So when my x is negative 3, my y is negative 4 because I can not include the open circle. So negative 4. We need to figure out what is my y when my x is 6. When my x is 6, it touches the graph when my y is negative 4. I have to see what is my y value when my x is 3. When my x is 3, it touches the graph when my y is negative 7. Do I have any questions on this part? Did y'all need me to wait before I go over the third part? Because that's the hardest part. Okay. What? Third part? Okay. The last part, which brings it all together, and you'll love it. It's fun. We're trying. We're going to use this equation for x values that is less than negative 4. So we need to figure out where we're going to start at. I'm going to plug in my x value, negative 4, into this equation. So that'll be negative 4 plus 8, which would give me positive 4. No. Yep, positive 4. So when when my x is negative 4, my y is positive 4. That's going to be my starting point. I plugged in that negative 4. I got 4. So when my x is negative 4, my y is 4. That's my starting point. Negative 4, 4. And it says that this is in the equation of a linear function, mx plus b. My slope is positive 1. So when I go to negative 4, 4, I need to have a positive slope, so it needs to be going up. But this is restricting for only x values that are less than negative 4. So will I be going to the left or will I be going to the right? The left. My slope is 1 over 1, a positive slope, and it is all values less than negative 4. So it goes forever in this direction. Is that an open circle or a closed circle? Open circle, so I'm going to open it up. That's the first one. The next one is the linear equation as well. I'm going to plug in my 1 and see where I start at. Negative 1 plus 9 gives me 8. So I plugged in a 1 and I got out an 8. That's where I start at. 1, 8. The slope is negative 1 in front of my x. So I go down 1 and over 1. And this is for values that is greater than 1. So values greater than 1 is going to the right forever. Click it twice to go on forever. A negative 1 slope where value set is greater than 1, where we have an open circle or closed circle. Open circle. All right? You have to do the linear and the restrictions. I'm going to do another one. These are linear equations. Remember, in front of the x is the slope. The number by itself is a y-intercept. It says we're going to start at -3, end at 0. So when I plug in a -3 into my equation, I could tell what is the coordinate that I would start with. So 2 times -3 plus 5. Order of operations says I multiply first. 2 times -3 is -6. -6 plus 5 equals -1. I plugged in a -3 and I got out a -1. That is my first coordinate. So I'm going to start at -1. The slope is 2, so I'm going to go up 2 and over 1. And it says that is all the way up to where my x is 0. Up 2 over 1. Up 2 over 1 to when my x is 0. Now, is the -3 an open circle or a closed circle? -3 is closed. And 0, since there is no line under it, is an open circle. So I'm going to open this circle up. And then we have another equation, only for values between 0 and 6. We're going to plug in our 0 to see where our graph would start at. -0 plus 4 is 4, so we plugged in a 0 and we got out a 4. That is where we will start at. 0, 4. So at 0, 4, we have a -1 slope, so down 1 over 1. And that is only for values between 0 and 6. -1 slope between 0 and 6. 0, would that be an open circle or closed circle? Open circle. And 6, will that be an open circle or closed circle? Open. Do I have any questions on this? All right, you have the rest of the class to get it done. I'm going to post these videos just in case you need some additional help. Good luck.